Riddle me this, Batman. If quizzes are quizzical, what are tests? Was this actually part of the new Batman movie? Remember, don't fret. I'll do my best, guys. Why do they lose more actual pony resemblance with every generation? Those are not horses. Well, here's an 1800s pug. Here's a 2020s pug. What are you trying to say here?
Inbreeding.
It's Friday. Post horsemouth bird. Ned, how do I remove this from my memory? You can't! He lives there now. Hashtag body horror. Oh, it's more than that, man. Oh, it's more than that. Gonna start running all of my posts through several layers of Google Translate just to keep the boys guessing. I'll start running all my posts with different Google translation levels to make kids guess. I'm gonna start posting all of my posts in the step of transferring the kids Google can guess. Google can think that I'll start publishing all of my posts during the child replacement phase. During the what? The church doesn't want you to know this, but the reason monks what? Tonsure their hair is because they need exposed skin on their head to photosynthesize. They can't fully shave their heads because bald guy swag is an earthly delight, and they refuse to indulge in it.
Mr. Worldwide!
You're not some daddy's boy who tries to dolphin me and then blimps. I understand all of those words separately. When you talk to a native speaker who uses slang, but you've only ever learned formal language in class. Fanfic authors, canon's gonna break your heart, man. And when it does, I'll be here to pick up the pieces and put you back together, because that's what a real content creator does. Jacob Janurka. Hello, this is Crab. Now I'm falling asleep and she's calling a crab. Oh, I see. I got you. No, I kind of vaguely get that one.
Now I'm falling asleep and she's calling a crab.
Look at this absolute baby I found at work the other day. She absorbed the secrets of the orange and cannot handle what she has learned. Weakling. Fool that you are. She has gained the orange's understanding, and therefore, its anger. Gordon Ramsay voice. I'm not gonna do it. The chicken is crucified. It's on the cross. Cut to shaky cam footage of a raw rotisserie chicken on a tiny cross. I wouldn't mind if that show had more goofy moments like that. Restaurant in Japan tries to make dining alone less awkward by seating patrons with giant stuffed animals. Shall we order dessert? No thanks. I'm stuffed. What are those little guys called? Aren't they a Finnish thing? Moomins? Is that right? No, is that right? Today I learned no studies have found MSG unsafe for consumption, and hundreds of studies have found it perfectly safe. Likewise, MSG's common reputation as unsafe mostly stems from one person's unverified complaints and speculation, and the substance has been considered safe by the USDA for 58 years. I just don't think people should be eating copies of Metal Gear Solid. Metal Sear Golid. Right. You had it backwards, my friend. Refreshing. 0% better. Me, after my 15-minute break at work. Damn, you got 15 minutes? I got like 34 seconds on my regular breaks. Virus name, not a virus. Smooth. Honestly, the smoothest thing I've ever seen. And it's probably worked on more than one person. The problem with horror now is there's no men in little tank tops and booty shorts. They were hunted to extinction. Yeah, it is a big problem in slashers and horror films today. We've lost some of our culture there. Every Olympic event should include one average person competing for reference. I'd watch every event if they did this. And here's our average Joe, who was just explained 5 minutes ago how curling works. Here's Stacy. She ice skated twice in her whole life, and today she competes beside the best in the world, and she fell again. What a good sport. Look at her get up using the wall. I wouldn't mind seeing more of this. The Olympics are already full of amateurs. Amateurs, remember, not people that are inexperienced. Having one that would be a great idea. Concept, basically Among Us, except if you don't perform your tasks in an OSHA-compliant fashion, there's a random chance you'll accidentally kill yourself. The imposters can't murder anyone directly, they can only create workplace hazards or sabotage tasks to require precautions they ordinarily don't. OSHA Among Us. This could be a fun game mode. It could be. It makes things a little less simple. Leaving house, good for depression, bad for anxiety. Staying at house, good for anxiety, bad for depression. Standing directly in the doorway to achieve peak mental health. Yep, right in the front door, dude. What else can you do? Don't ask why Kenny wanted to be a chick, it's just how he seems to be rolling right now. That awkward moment when Eric Cartman is more tolerant and enlightened than the majority of people. Cartman has had quite an arc over the last 25 years, dude. Remember when every girl wanted this phone? Yo, if you had this phone in 2005, you were the coolest bitch on the block. I didn't know this was my thing. My dad had this phone. Then your dad was the coolest bitch on the block. There are no exceptions. I actually, for a very short period in time, had the knockoff version of the Razor, straight up called the Crazer. I don't know who it was made by, but it was a knockoff version. Just woke up from a nap and had a dream that they announced a new capybara Pokemon, and it was literally just a regular capybara named Capybara. Artist's rendition. Is there not actually just a Pokemon that's just a dude? That's just a little dude like this? There has to be at least one, right? We've got little ice cream cones flying around at this point. Why can't there just be a normal animal? The year is 2053. A girl lays on her bed wearing vintage Ugg boots. I was born in the wrong generation, she sighs, as she listens to Taylor Swift and cries over a One Direction poster. Some kids are actually gonna be like this. You do realize that. Yeah, this sure terrifies me. Oh man, stop. Just please stop. Apparently when my grandma first came to America, she didn't know what a raccoon was and assumed it was just a f***ed up cat and adopted it. Just imagine this 13-year-old girl with a heavy Eastern European accent being like, "This is my cat, Peter. He's not very friendly." Did it work out? Was she able to woo the raccoon? What a nice sheep, I think, as I gaze out at a field. The sheep, facing away, starts to raise its head. I stare in mounting horror as the head keeps rising, neck elongating in some cursed spectacle that roots me to the fucking spot in fear until I realize, oh, it's an alpaca. Thought this was gonna be a horror short fiction, but no, it's just rural. The veil between rural and eldritch is far thinner than anyone wishes to guess. You're damn right about that one, friend. Do you ever start bullshitting a paper and then look over it halfway through and think, wait a minute, I could be onto something here? This is the definition of college. Literally, I was writing a paper on Asian saltwater crocodiles, like a simple about them paper for a college class, and I started noticing some inconsistencies in the scientific papers I was sourcing, and I accidentally discovered that the crocodile had been misdiagnosed as least concerned on the endangered species list, when they should be classified as endangered, and now my professor's having me write a formal report to the International Red List to have them reclassified, and all I wanted to do was write this paper on an animal. I thought it was cool, and now I'm considered an expert on this species. Well, when in Rome, go to Olive Garden, my friend. Methinks Tadashi's legacy lies not in Baymax's 1,000 plus medical procedures, but in the fact that he programmed his robot to act wasted when his battery is low. Hashtag, he's such a college student, why do people forget it? Oh, they're not really hashtags, I don't give a crap. Big Hero 6. That sure was a movie. Haven't seen that one in a little bit. You know how most of the things humans use as spices are poisonous or repellent to most other animals? And you know how anything vaguely D&D inspired has dwarves being way more poison resistant than even humans? Dwarf cuisine shouldn't be bland. It should be unimaginably spicy and potentially harmful or fatal to humans, like green potato and rhubarb leaf salad with a festive garnish of yew berries and deadly nightshade berries. That kind of thing. Concept. Humans think it's bland, because rather than memorizing what kills humans, it's safer to just pass on the spices. Should we add salt? Everyone eats salt, right? No, that's a rock. There's no way humans eat rocks. You think that's crazy? Try drinking a dwarven beer. Being alive is great, because there are so many different vegetables you can saute. But then, there are also the horrors. I don't want to talk about the horrors today, actually, but thank you. So I went to the eye doctor, right? And I sat down to fill out all the paperwork like you do, and the lady was like, "Thanks, Doctor will be with you in a moment." I was like, why did she say doctor twice? That's weird. But then I looked at the business cards on the table and his name was actually Dr. Chad Doctor. And I looked around and the other assistant caught my eye and just nodded like, you just had the moment, didn't you? Chad saw his chance and he took it. I mean, come on. Why wouldn't you, right? Seal grabs Diver's hand and now Diver understands. Give it love. Can we please stop turning villains into anti-heroes? I'm all for redemption arcs, but it only works if the characters haven't committed like 1,000 serious crimes before. And I mean serious crimes. Jane Austen really said, I respect the I can fix him movement, but that's just not me. He'll fix him himself if he knows what's good for him. And that's why her works are still calling the shots today. Meanwhile, Emily Bront just said, we can make each other worse. Mary Shelley said, I can make him. I don't know who any of these people are, but I'm sure these folks are correct. Romeo, I dreamt a dream tonight. Mercutio, and so did I. Well, what was yours? That dreamers often lie. Romeo, I had this intense dream last night, bro. Ah, so did I. What'd you dream, dude? That you're full of shit. Zorro's worst outfit. He looks like he works in a malt shop. Hey, at least he's comfy, right? I mean, come on. Short people. Whenever you may feel frustrated or sad about being short, look at this picture and remember you will never have to experience the annoying tall person shower squat, since 95% of showers are designed for people under 5'5", and being 6'3" has this effect. This actually makes me feel a lot better, thank you and God bless. I'm 6'3", by the way, and I've never experienced a shower head being that short. Never once in my life. So I don't know what the hell he's on about here. Disappointing. You've allowed yourself to be defined by a single genre, God's silence. Hey, what the hell is God's silence, huh? Okay, but consider this. Mermaids in space. Space mermaids? As in alien mermaids that live in the vacuum of space and swim between the stars? A setting that uses the analogy of deep space as the open ocean but keeps all the sea monsters? Do want? Luring astronauts into black holes with a song that carries across the void where no one can hear you scream. This post turned real fast. Space sirens. I'd be down for this. Do you ever eat some disappointing junk food and it's like, I'm clogging my arteries for this? Things on this site are so oddly specific, yet so accurate. It's simply because we're all the same. Why is it so small? It's a baby. Thank you, science side of Tumblr. Yeah, we do need them every now and then. My favorite haunted house experience was when a werewolf, after growling in our faces and effectively freaking out my siblings, stepped on my shoe and he said in the softest voice imaginable, "Oh, sorry." In close second is the time where strings hanging from the ceiling and my glasses got cut. Wait, what? Can people type right? Where strings hanging from the ceiling and my glasses got caught, and this guy, who was dressed up as a creepy Victorian zombie or whatever, stood there as I tried to untangle them while they were still on my face. But it kept getting worse until he walked up to me, very carefully removed my glasses, untangled them, and handed them back to me, and then grunted like a zombie as I thanked him and moved on. Oh, this was the same night, by the way. If he writes her a few sonnets, he loves her. If he writes her 300 sonnets, he loves sonnets. My English professor. I'm saying that word correctly, right? I think about this quote all the time, and I feel like it explains a lot about human behavior. The Bank of Canada urges Star Trek fans to stop spocking their fivers. No, reblog if you would spock a fiver. That sure is a phrase. I like it. I like it a lot. In primary school, we had a creative writing assignment where we had to write about a character in a new strange situation. And I wrote about a squid that was somehow teleported from the ocean to the forest floor and slowly choked to death for 2 pages, and I'll never quite forget my teacher's face because it turns out she wanted, "This new school is scary, I hope I make friends," and not a graphic description of a squid dying. Well, that's just the risk you take if you decide to teach creative writing. Yeah, you don't get to expect things in creative writing. I was hoping you would do this. I don't give a shit what you were hoping. That's not what we were told. My friend was testing perfumes out at the store, and she sniffed a bottle and announced, "Not gonna lie, this kinda sucks." The girl at the counter suddenly looked really sad, and my friend was like, "I'm sorry, I wasn't talking about you." And the girl looked up and said, "No, don't worry. I didn't think that, but I just crushed a ladybug with my shoe." We both took a peek over the counter. She stepped on a red M&M. Every word of this is a curveball. Dude, you're telling me. I sterilized my cat so she wouldn't have any babies, and she brought one home from the street. I am mommed her. The look in her eyes. You cannot prevent me from raising a family. That cat is determined. You gotta give her that much, right? You're the bad guy in someone's story. Pal, I'm the bad guy in my story, okay? Oh God, what is this? I'll never forget the dream I had about this show on Nickelodeon that was kind of like Malcolm in the Middle and Even Stevens. It was called Boy Naughty, and like every time they went to a commercial, it would fade out with kids singing Boy Naughty. I wish you could hear this tune because it's been stuck in my head for months. Uh-oh, here comes Boy Naughty. Weekends at 6 p.m. on Fox Kids. I would love to see this show and hear what you were actually thinking with the jingle. So, we went to an improv show, and we played this game where somebody's given a trait and another player has to guess what it is based on how they answer questions. And one of the players, who was a taxidermist, was asked, "What do you do for a living?" And she replied, "Oh, you know, stuff." And to this day, that is the greatest pun I have ever heard. My God. Someone was waiting their entire lives for that moment, and it was probably completely worth it. I'm not sure I even believe in the sunk cost fallacy anymore, but I've put in too much work to quit now. Not sure about the gambler's fallacy, but I've been wrong so many times before, my luck is bound to change. This one source I found out of dozens did say that cherry picking was valid. Well, I don't hear anyone who made it here complaining about survivorship bias. Oh God. How long did this go on for? They definitely didn't stop here. The only high school heterosexual romance I want to see is Jock Girl and Nerd Boy. Sorry, the other ones have been too overdone. Give me a super confident basketball player girl and a guy who's a little terrified of her. Nerd boy is scrambling for books at his locker. Basketball girl leans on the locker next to his like jocks do in high school movies. Let me guess, no other guy wants to hang out with her because she's too tall and intimidating. Actually, no. All the basketball dudes think she's super cool, but she wants a calculus loser. I'm sorry, but the Norwegian butter crisis of 2011 just confuses my goddamn brain, because how the actual hell does an entire country run out of butter? Did Norway just come downstairs and like opens fridge? I can't read that. I was gonna explain how the butter crisis happened, but then I noticed your freaking hilarious attempt at writing "we've run out of butter." I'm not sure if you know, but you basically wrote "we drove out of the lubrication." Well, that makes everything better though. People who don't cook their cereal don't realize what they're missing out on. The heat of the flame really brings out the sweetness of the marshmallows. OP, I'm coming to your home to beat you in the face and ass. Hey, they might be onto something here. Try before you deny. Anyway, on to better things. Well, there he goes, I guess. Bye-bye. No thoughts, only fully articulated iron crab. Japanese, 18th century. Fully articulated iron crab. Japanese, 18th century. Private collection. I want to hold this guy so badly. Me too, actually. Olympics should have a for fun section at the end of all the games so all the athletes can try different sports. Bolt v Phelps, ping pong. Really want to see this. With the expert athletes on the sidelines yelling tips. It's like a much better version of Shaq versus. You guys are all so funny tonight. Lets the strap of my dress fall down my shoulder. Yeah, we not that funny. Fixes it with those claws for picking up trash. Oh, I see. I'm sorry, but the idea of Star Trek cosplayers walking around a Renaissance fair like time travelers will always be hilarious and amazing to me. I knew a Rennie who kept a Starfleet badge pinned onto the inside of his jerkin. When he encountered Trekkies at a fair, he'd pull them aside. "My lord, a word in private if you would humor me." And then he'd flash the badge at them and say something along the lines of, "What the hell do you think you're doing? This is an undeveloped, uncontacted tribal planet. Do the words Prime Directive mean anything to you? You've just ruined literal years of research. Who's your captain?" I'll be referring this to Starfleet for corrective action. It always got a laugh. I'm sure it did. Chronic neuron misfire at work where a customer asked what my specialty was. Like, what my favorite drink is, I guess. And I said, "Wasp Cup." And then we stared at each other for a second, and I decided to double down for some reason and said, "You bring the wasp, I bring the cup." And she was just like, "Okay, can I have an iced white mocha?" Without any emotion. It was like two neural nets interacting. I mean, I will never try a wasp cup, ever. Self-fulfillment needs, psychological needs, and basic needs. Be held and rice. Are you a wet cell phone? It's fucking Wimdy. Ever since I first saw this post, "it's fucking Wimdy" is easily one of the top 10 most commonly used phrases in my household. Then my job is done. This man can't be fixed. I can screw him though. Maybe that will calm him down. I don't know. You know what? Give it a try. For the sake of the galaxy, give it a try. Why not? From a principal's publication in 1815. Students today depend on paper too much. They don't know how to write on a slate without getting chalk dust all over themselves. They can't clean a slate properly. What will they do when they run out of paper? Proof that someone has bitched and will bitch about young people's technology throughout all of time and space. Oh yeah, previous generations are always going to complain about how much easier the future generations are going to have it. Which, by the way, is the goddamn point. We're progressing so that future generations don't have to deal with all of the shit that the past generations did. You don't need to be a little bitch about it. We're doing that on purpose. Okay, at least some of us are doing that on purpose. Others love the idea of people suffering as much as they did for some fucking reason. She's a 10, but she rots in her room all day listening to music and making up scenarios in her head. I think that's what most of us do, right?